Hello, welcome to Geoff Schwartz. Smarter Than You. Today is Monday, December 22nd. I'm Geoff Schwartz alongside Gabe Goodwin as usual. We are presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Hope you had a good weekend. Week 16 is almost in the books in the National Football League. We have one game tonight between the Niners and the Colts. I think we know how that one is probably going to go. It'd be very fun if the Niners win that game because then, Gabe, we'd have a situation where the Niners could win next week and then play Seattle for presumably the 1 seed in week 18. So a lot of playoff scenarios to get to. We do have most of the field known, even though not everyone is clinched yet. And we have to get to some college football news and notes as well. How was your weekend, sir?
I spent part of my weekend in Vegas, and
Oh,
yeah, and did not get a three-team parlay in that I would have nailed it, but I didn't get it in, and so I missed my chance to capitalize on your Ducks.
what was your parlay going to be?
I was a mix of bets on the three playoff games on Saturday.
So you put Oregon in the money line.
I was going to lay a bunch of points for Oregon, and I
We
thought
didn't cover, though.
Miami could cover. They didn't cover.
We
All
didn't
right, so
cover.
then good thing I lucked out.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the number you got. We did not cover, unfortunately, but we won, which is most important. We move on to the next round of the playoffs. Gabe, I want to talk this through right now. In the AFC,
Oh boy.
here is where we stand right now. In the wild card weekend, the Patriots are hosting the Houston Texans. Jacksonville, 11-4, hosting the Buffalo Bills, also 11-4. The Steelers, for the 19th straight year in a row, over 500, or at least 500, they would host the 11-win Chargers, your Chargers. The Broncos right now have the bye in the AFC. That's the AFC. The NFC, Seattle with the 1 seed. The Bears would host the Packers. They play the third time. Eagles host the Niners. Panthers host the Rams. 5 of those 6 games are all within a field goal, Gabe, right now in the postseason. I see your face making a scrunched up
I
face.
don't like it.
Not great, right? Like, I know everyone says, I'm tired of the Chiefs. I'm tired of all this. I don't know. Feels like you kind of want Pat Mahomes that weekend, don't you?
Yeah, boy, when you remove Patrick Mahomes from the equation, it's like, Ocean's 11 is a great movie. It has a lot of great stars in it. But if you take Clooney out of it, it's suddenly like a completely different thing. That's what this feels like.
It does. And I have done this test with you guys for a while now, Gabe. The Super Bowl has ended. Roger Goodell is walking that Lombardi trophy through the crowd of
Yeah.
players to the stage. There's an owner there, a head coach, and a quarterback. Is Bo Nix going to be handed the trophy third?
Ugh.
Drake May, Trevor Lawrence,
Ugh.
Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, or CJ Stroud in the AFC? $100 right now. Who are we giving that to?
That last few that you named were fine to me. I think Herbie, Stroud, even Aaron Rodgers. That feels befitting of the moment. The first three you named, that was a joke. So I'm going to go with Herbie of all those guys.
The Chargers obviously have no offensive line, and they will not win the Super Bowl because of it, unfortunately, no matter how well Herbert is playing. But my takeaway from the NFL this past week is mostly what I just mentioned. I think this is the most wide open we've had the NFL in years, right? It's the first year since when no Mahomes, no Brady. Like those guys always were the quarterbacks we knew would play an AFC Championship game. Even Joe Burrow, right? Like when he's been in, he's only made the playoffs like 2 years. He's made the AFC Championship game in both of the 2 years. Um, Josh Allen is the best quarterback left, I would think. I think Herbert's up there. Drake May is certainly up there. The NFC is sort of void of great quarterbacks outside of Stafford at the moment. But normally this is a quarterback coach type of thing. The problem is the Chargers and Bills are playing through the wild card round. They have to win three road playoff games to make the Super Bowl, which hasn't been done since the 2020 Patriots. But again, that was a COVID year, so I don't know if that really counts. It's just a absolutely hectic top of both of these conferences, and some of the teams on our ban list, I feel like, Gabe,
Yeah.
have to be removed.
That sucks, right? We spend so much time thinking about who belongs in the banned list. One of the teams that really I did not want to come to this is definitely the Jaguars, who beat those Broncos. Um, we're seeing who we've named. It's a lot of things on there. I stand by
Yeah.
most of them. But the Jags, you're right, have to come off, or we're going to spend a whole month ignoring potentially the top seed in the AFC. So make me a little smarter about them. And I have follow up
Yeah.
questions about their coach. You knew about their quarterback. The coach is the most
Yeah.
interesting part of this in Jacksonville.
Well, yeah, Trevor Lawrence has to be removed off this banned topic list because he's playing much better football now, and I think that's what it is, right? Like Trevor Lawrence and whatever Liam Cohen has done has gotten him to play a much more controlled style of football, right? Where it does feel like there's less variance game to game. There's more consistency. They're running the ball well, but he just really has stopped turning the ball over. Four
Yeah.
straight games, no turnovers. Like that really helps, right? And that is again, that's the efficiency part of it. He's not completing a ton of passes, by the way, but he is being efficient when he's getting the ball to where he needs to go. And yesterday was a game I wanted to see because they had won 5 in a row, and four of those games are against non-playoff teams, right? The Cardinals, Titans, Colts, and Jets. So this game was at Denver.
Yep.
Denver had won, I think, 11 in a row. We know they're good on defense, and Jacksonville just was fantastic. Defensively, Jacksonville is much better as season went on, and I think we might have joked about Liam Cohen saying Duval a little weird in his press conference, but it does feel like those weird press conferences, Gabe, end up being the best coaches because he's done a fantastic job this season of his job, I think, and I still think was getting Trevor Lawrence to the point where they could win a game at Denver, which I didn't think was possible. And he did. He played a very good game. Parker Washington had 145 yards receiving, his breakout game. And it was an impressive win for Jacksonville. Like you might not think highly of Denver, and that's certainly fair, but that's a big boy win, man. You went to Denver, they won 12 games, and you won by 14 points. Like it was not a fluke that you won this game.
No. And I don't think highly of Denver, but you put 34 up on them, and I got to pay attention to that. So let's talk about Liam Cohen. I swore he went to Hebrew school with one of us, but he did not. Um, Last year, Baker Mayfield goes from that like 15th best quarterback in the league to
Yeah.
a top 10 guy. This year, Trevor Lawrence goes from 15th best quarterback in the
Yeah.
league to top 10 guy. Liam Cohen is the constant. Why is his offense or his version of someone else's offense so easy to adapt to?
God, I know like five Liam Cohens on my son's basketball team. Just look just like him yeah, it's so funny. Um, look, I just think that one thing that good play designers have, Gabe, is to have a like very fluid game plan, right? Where they mix in a lot of things, but they do it with a ton of different formations, and the base concepts always remain the same, right? And you keep growing those, drilling those drills, you add formations, and then just the play variance, right? And finding easy completions, and then knowing how to sequence things, right? Like you might run a play in the first quarter that gets 2 yards, but the goal is that that play ends up getting you 17 yards in the third quarter, right? And Liam Cohen is really good at those type of decisions. So, um, again, the thing that I've always said about new coaches and new quarterbacks paired together is that this is the time of year where you really see if it's working or not. So, for example, it's working in Jacksonville, it's working in Chicago to maybe a different degree. They've had a little more luck than Jacksonville has. I think we saw at the end of last season with the Eagles, it was working defensively, right? With Fangio sort of got the defense going, the offense sort of got going at the end of the season. That's when you start seeing it in that direction where it should be if you want to be considered, sort of an elite place. Where the other ways happening, where like Dan Campbell's now the OC essentially in Detroit, and the offense is sort of falling off week by week. That's what happens a lot of times if it's not going well. Like the week 12, 13 is sort of when we see either up or down. Very, very, not very often is a sort of flat line, right? Even last year, like the Commanders, right? Sort of just took off this time of year. That's when you start seeing it. So we're starting to see that with Liam Cohen right now in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, you basically just took us to the Bears. So we can
Yeah.
get right into them and my boy Caleb, or we can hang around in the AFC a little longer. I'll leave it in your hands.
I feel like we've done the AFC. I mean, I don't really know. Like, I don't think the Patriots are a threat to make the Super Bowl. They might have the one seed. I don't view them that way. I thought last night was a failure of the Ravens more than it was the Patriots. Derrick
Yeah.
Henry didn't see the ball for the last 12 minutes. Like, what are we doing? Right? It's happened multiple times for the Ravens. So, um, I just I don't get. I think John Harbaugh's gone. Like I think John Harbaugh has a legit
Ooh.
chance to. They need a refresher. They need a refresher. So I have a question. One of the people that I work with on the radio, he has this theory. I've never really explored it, but maybe we should. That like Lamar Jackson doesn't play through pain like other quarterbacks do.
Oh.
And last night he got a bruise on his back, a contusion, and like just didn't play the second half. I'm every year he gets hurt. Like I'm kind of like I kind of want to explore that a little bit.
The idea of pain tolerance and how much pain a
Yeah,
certain guy can put up with.
yeah. Interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been hurt at the end of every year, like half his career. Now, some of those are really bad injuries, but like a contusion can be really bad. Absolutely. But that was a game last night that you had to win to keep your season alive. Do you think that Josh Allen's coming out of the game?
No.
Mahomes?
Certainly not. I thought
I know it's
Mahomes was gonna
interesting.
come
Now,
back with a
now
torn
again,
ACL. I
now
mean,
it could be again. It could be just complete. But he has this theory. He texted me about it today, a couple minutes ago, actually, because there was a report on his back injury, and so that was interesting. I kind of want to explore that, but never want to call anyone soft, of course. But I mean, he's a back contusion, so he had a back bruise essentially.
yep.
That's what it is. I mean, unless you can't walk, I mean, how do you not come back in that game, right?
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to stand here and say that Lamar Jackson is soft, and I'm sure he can play through
He's not
all
soft.
kinds of pain that I would never want to endure in any situation. But I do think you're onto something interesting, and having now raised a few kids, or in the process of raising them, there is a clear difference in pain tolerance between humans. Like even ones that are like twins, for in my case,
Yeah.
and so it stands to reason that two guys who are elite, all-time great
Yeah.
athletes could have very different interpretations of what kind of pain they can put themselves through. And I don't think
Yeah.
we ever talk about that. We might call it toughness, but it's not that. It's about telling your brain it's fine, you
Yeah.
can deal with it.
And sometimes, by the way, it's dumb to play through pain.
Yeah,
Like sometimes it can really be, it can really do a detriment. But he just texted me out before we started. I thought it's interesting to think about
it
his
is.
career in that manner at times. All right, NFC. So
Well,
the
so I'll
Bears.
tell you a guy
Yeah,
who can play through pain, even though people have questioned his mental toughness, is Caleb Williams. That guy's there. He plays every week. He's there at the
yeah,
end of every game. He'll stumble around, he'll get beat the crap out of, and he'll still make plays.
yeah.
His game-winning touchdown pass was maybe the play of the year in the NFL and rated, this means something to people like you and Hank, the highest rated throw according to PFF all season, whatever that means.
Mm.
I think you have to start to admit that it's not just like Ben Johnson doing voodoo. Like the guy has a game here. He's clutch.
Well, look, they've won 6 games this season where they've been trailing in the second, excuse me, under 2 minutes left, which is the most NFL history. Like
Uh-huh.
that's good. It's great. But when they go 0-6 in those situations next season, they're going to be the Washington Commanders, right? Like that's what they're going to be. Is this feels very 2024 Commanders, where everything goes your way, and the next year it doesn't. I'm not saying they're going to get hurt or anything like that, but everything's going right this season for them. I mean, look, they had a guy who just a wide receiver couldn't catch a onside kick. Like, just if he catches the ball, the game is over. Like that's
I understand your point, but this is not just a correction to the mean. Like he's making the plays to win the game.
he is, but they shouldn't even be in that position because other weird things happen before they get there. If that makes sense. Like like again, like the onside kick, like that's not anything Caleb has to do, but he did make the throw. And look, I think the Bears are good. I don't think they're this good. I don't think they're ready for any big time playoff um, push, but I do think that what I mentioned with Liam Cohen and Jacksonville, we're right on schedule with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, where you have a guy now. That was the whole goal this season, was to figure out whether or not Caleb Williams is your guy of the future. He is. Now,
Yes.
he's got to complete about 10% more passes. Like that's 58% is not good enough. He knows that. They know that. So that's where an area to work on this offseason. But now you've done a great job building that offensive line, using the run game to help out Caleb Williams. I think every week we see Caleb Williams continue to have more confidence in the pocket and take less sacks. And the throw, obviously, at the end was fantastic. So, look, man, A+ for what the season's been for Chicago. It's not a team I worry about in the postseason, though.
Okay. Well, then you've told me who you do worry about. It's the Rams, especially, maybe the
Yeah,
Seahawks after beating them. And you
no
said the
Seahawks.
Niners could sneak up on all of us. So if you're
Yeah.
not worried about the Bears, is your only worry area coming from out west, or is there anyone else that you do like? The Eagles a worry area? Like, I don't know
No.
why you wouldn't
So
be worried about
I
the Bears at this point. They got a quarterback who can pull a rabbit out of his ass whenever he needs to, and they do seem like they play some defense. Like, why wouldn't you be worried? It's also
surprised
no degrees there ever.
I'm surprised you're not wearing your USC hat during this
I'm
discussion.
wearing my
Um,
USC sweatshirt.
oh, you are. There you go. There you go. I see it. Um, all right. So the it's interesting. The Rams right now have the best odds to win the Super Bowl, and they're not even going to have a home playoff game. That's where the rest of Vegas thinks about the rest of the NFC right now. I think we can't discount Philly, even though don't love their offense compared to last season. Um, I still, dude, the Seattle thing, man. Sam Darnold was not good for 3.5 quarters. Like I know that he played well to end the game there in overtime, but the reason the game was 30-14 was because he kept on the ball to the other team, which is the problem he's had against the Rams in 2 games this season. And the problem he had to end the season last year in big spotlight games. They were in it because of a punt return, right? Like so the excitement for Darnold, I just don't see it yet. I don't. We'll see in a couple weeks when they go to San Francisco and play for the 1 seed potentially. I don't buy the lack of a run game for Seattle. I just don't buy that in the postseason. So they're sort of out for me. Chicago, I mentioned that. The Niners, interesting. The Niners gonna have the 1 seed. If they win tonight, they win next week against the Bears, and they play Seattle at home for the 1 seed. But again, their pass rush, man, is like really worrisome. The Rams to me are the most complete team, even though the reason why they're not the 1 seed is they lost, to the Eagles being up 26-7. They lost being up 30-14 to the Seahawks. They lost the Carolina Panthers, who are right now atop the NFC South. I know it's been a couple of days, Gabe, but I hated that 2-point conversion ruling in the Seattle Los Angeles game. And it's not that the call was wrong. To me, that they got the call wrong, which they didn't. They got the call correct. But I'm of the opinion, and I think this is the minority, but I still believe this, that replay review should be used to fix egregious errors, not to award teams 2 points that have a shitty football play, right? Like the Rams, to me, the Rams made a good play, right? Seattle had a bad play call. The Rams knocked the ball down. The officials blew the whistle and signaled an incomplete pass. And then Charbonnet just sort of casually walks over and picks the ball up. Like he wasn't even trying to recover the ball. He just like walked over to it, didn't sprint, didn't run, just picked it up, right? Like, oh, there's a ball, I'm gonna pick it up. Net 2 points for the Seahawks. I saw a tweet saying, imagine you're drunk in the stadium, you witness the worst play you've ever seen, and your team gets awarded 2 points for it. Again, right call. I just don't think that's a replay review should be used for. And you can't advance a fumble on 4th down. You can't advance a fumble on a 2-point play. This is a backwards pass that is eventually ruled a fumble. I I don't like. Here's also I don't like this idea of a live ball only being live for the person trying to pick it up. Like, let's say as Charbonnet went to get the ball, a Rams defensive player just hit him right in the back, right? He would get a personal foul for that,
Right.
even though the play is still live, according to the officials. That doesn't square with me, right? I don't square with that. Um, the fishing at the end of the Lions Steelers game, Amon-Ra St. Brown was tackled at the half-yard line, or stopped progress at the half-yard line. He was short of the end zone. He was taken back 7 yards before pitching the ball to Jared Goff. His forward progress was stopped. Why is the play continuing? Why are we doing this? So those things about officiating have troubled me this year. Look, they get stuff wrong during games all the time, but like that stuff just kind of irks me, man. Again, the call was right in Seattle. I'm not disagreeing the call was wrong, but I just don't know if that's what replay should be used for.
Yeah. Can I admit something to you, Jeff, right
Yeah,
now? The whole time you were talking about that
yeah,
scenario, I really kind of lost track of what you were saying because I kept thinking about what you told me right before we went live today. which is that you now own two painted dragon lizards.
No, no,
What?
bearded dragons. Bearded
Whatever.
dragons.
You own
Okay.
lizards?
Yeah. So here's what happened. I can get one if you want. I'll put them, hang on my shoulder during the show. Um, so for Hanukkah, we told the kids that they had to do a PowerPoint presentation
Okay.
for their gifts they wanted. Okay. So they know how to use computers, they know how to build PowerPoints for school and whatnot.
All right.
So they did this PowerPoint presentation, and my son wants a bearded dragon. He did this incredible presentation, like he linked to things he needed to buy
Mm-hmm.
for the bearded dragon. My wife was like, no. Now, mind you, my wife 2 years ago, we had no pets whatsoever. Now
Yeah.
we have a dog, a big German Shepherd, 5 hermit crabs, and eventually we have the dragons now. So
You just left out when you had chickens until they got murdered by a raccoon.
we did raccoon and then an owl and then a hawk. That's also true, correct? Um, so that was a COVID thing. Like I think my wife was bored during COVID.
I'm just
Okay,
saying, if we're gonna state the record
yeah,
accurately, you
I did have
owned a
chickens.
bunch of chickens that were murdered by neighborhood animals.
That is very true. That's why we gave him up. Okay,
Give them up. They were
so
dead.
I no, we gave up the ones that were still alive
Okay.
at the end of the process. Okay, so I found a bunch of bearded dragon videos on TikTok. I showed my wife, and she's like, "Oh, these things are kind of cute." And
Ugh.
so we went to the store Friday night and got a bearded dragon and got everything. And my son did not choose the one that my wife wanted in the end. She wanted this orange one. So then the next day, Saturday, she went and got herself an orange bearded dragon, but not knowing that they're not really supposed to live together. So I had to buy a separate enclosure. Now we have two bearded dragon enclosures, two bearded dragons. I took them out today. They both shit on me. It's terrible. But they just hang out on your shoulder until they poop, and then I put them back. So obviously, I need to make sure they don't poop on me anymore. But I fed them before this beetles and collard greens.
Okay. Thank you for telling us all that. I was again, what I was thinking about while you were getting into details on a 2 point conversion play that I didn't see live. So my brain just started racing. Can I go back to the script now?
Yeah, I mean, we have to take a break at some point. I could go get one of them. We can just put them on my shoulder while we do the rest of the show if you would like at some point. But yeah, let's continue on the
If
show.
if you're
Um,
comfortable doing that, I say we take that break. You go get that monster and put it on your shoulder, and then I'll try to work our way through the rest of the rundown, which includes what's going on with DK Metcalf, kind of weird
yeah.
situation, and a whole bunch of college football.
So you really want me to get one of the dragons?
Why would I say no to that?
Okay. 30 seconds. Be right
Uh
back.
huh.
We're back. Geoff Schwartz, Gabe Goodwin. This is Chuck, the bearded dragon. His name is Chuck.
Oh my god,
Buddy. See?
dude, it was not as big as I was expecting. Is
No,
that
it's a
full
baby.
grown?
No, it's little.
How big's that thing gonna get?
I don't know. Double the size, maybe?
You do you know? You don't know it because this is what
Yeah, I mean,
happens. People end up throwing these in the drain,
no,
and then they live in the
no, they're
sewers.
gonna be like that big, probably. Like body and tail. I think you
Okay.
get 2 feet.
Could he run right now? If he just took off running, where's he going? What happens? Can you catch him?
Yeah, I have to get him before my dog gets him.
Do you think the dog would eat him?
No, no. Bo's behind me.
And he's comfortable just sitting there like that?
Yeah.
Wow. What's he feel like?
A lizard sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
There he goes. Look,
Uh,
crawling.
he's going.
He'd like to
Okay, he's
he'd like to sit
crawling.
on
So
top of my shoulder.
he's kind of creeping his way up the
He's gonna
rankings
try to get
there.
off of me in about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have to chase him in a second.
All right. Well, let me tee up this next topic, and then if you have
Yeah.
to, chase a lizard, you can. So DK Metcalf. At first, all we saw was some video people shared online, which was him appearing to grab like a wig of a fan, a Lions fan, and then sort of looking like he tried to punch the guy in the face. So we have the still shot up there. The sequence of events
Yeah.
definitely looked like DK was in the wrong. Since then, a couple things have happened. He's been suspended 2 games, and he's offered an explanation, or at least sort of clarified why he put his hands on this fan. So, according to Tom Pelissero, and we have the tweet up, essentially, you might have guessed this. The fan said some nasty stuff to DK about his mother, and then apparently he used a word that you should never use, specifically about DK's race. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know what the truth is. I don't think you do either. But what is your impression of this situation, given what you know?
2 game suspension was absolutely gonna happen. No matter what was said, here he goes.
I just
This is like when I
realized the
talk.
foolishness of us starting this segment with a
Yeah,
lizard on your chest. The only
really good.
semi-serious topic we have today with a lizard on your chest. We can start this thing over if you'd like, Jeff.
So, I'll just hold him for a second. And when I
All
start
right.
talking, he just starts to run. I don't think he likes the noise.
That's probably
Okay.
the vibrations are very
Yeah.
uncomfortable for him.
So now he's on my hand. Okay. Here's the deal. So we don't know what he said. There's video emerging that shows, I think, DK walking over to him, which we don't know what he said before that. Okay. Now there's
Right.
plenty of oh, there he's gone. This is not good. Um, you know
Well,
what?
we can
I'm gonna put
squeeze
it
in
back.
another break, and I can even fill in some facts here because
We're
yes,
gonna
he
take a
walked
break.
over to him, and
15
DK.
seconds.
Yep, DK says that he has had an encounter with this fan before. That previously, when he had been with the Seahawks, he'd had a run in with this same Lions fan, who I guess had, according to DK, said some rude things to him back then. Um, the fan claims, whatever it's worth, that all he did was say DK's full name, like what the DK stands for and his full name, middle names, which wouldn't seem offensive on the face. But my guess is he probably did add some other language in there, and DK probably heard a few things he didn't like, and the truth probably lands somewhere in between. So now we're looking at a situation where DK has this 2 game suspension, which, from my vantage point, which is not very important, seems totally reasonable. Anytime an NFL player reaches into the stands and put their hands on a player, that seems like something that's going to happen to you. I guess my
Okay.
question to you, Jeff, as you hook back is in the NBA, we've seen these ugly incidents, and then we
Yeah.
heard later what provoked the player, and we thought, oh, okay, I kind of understand why he did that.
Yeah.
It's a little different in the NFL because there's so much more of a barrier between players and fans.
Correct.
Is there ever a scenario where a player should walk over to a
No.
fan and put their hands up on him?
No. So here's what it comes down to. Look, we don't know what was said. I mean, I think that you could have guessed what DK was going to say was said. There's plenty of people sitting around, right? Like, if he said what DK accused him of, there is maybe video, there's fan corroboration of that.
Mhm.
We haven't heard that yet, right, Gabe? Like, it's easy to say, this is what someone said to me, but He said, I guess, in the situation. But the fact is, as derogatory is the N word is, talking about his mom, he can't go grab a fan in the stands, Gabe.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do that. You can't go in the stands. Where was Steelers security at, right? Where was Lions security at? Where was anyone to stop DK from doing that? This feels like an appropriate punishment for that. And um, I think the NFL is right to make this a harsher punishment than other things because you just can't have that be your NFL where anytime someone says something bad about you, you just go in the stands and try to assault's the wrong word, but get in their face. Like I just don't really think that this is the way to handle any of those situations. Unfortunately, it's what happened. You can't change that obviously now. Um, Maybe we'll find video of him saying the worst things imaginable to DK. Maybe I'll recant some of it, but I still don't think you should go in the crowd and grab someone by their collar if they say things that are derogatory to you, as bad or as mean as it might be, or as hurtful as it might be. You just can't do that if you're a professional athlete.
Yeah, I think I have a question for you as a guy who's been on a lot of sidelines and you hear all kinds of nasty stuff. You were not as high a profile player as DK Metcalf was, so you probably didn't get anything like that directed at you. But I'm curious, like, wouldn't security, without even questioning, just instantly take your side? If you went over to them and were like, "Hey, that guy's yelling such and such. I want him out of here." Wouldn't they just be like, "All right, you're out, dude." Like, they're not gonna do an investigation, right? As soon as they sense that something's wrong with that fan, that guy's gone, right?
Yeah, I think he'd be gone immediately. So that's one thing too, right? Like, um, if again, like my question is like, where's security at, right? Like,
Yeah,
no one's. Again, I also think if he yelled that word as loud as he had
other
to get
people would have
DK's
heard.
attention,
Yeah,
other people would hear it. Like this is sort of my thing about what I mentioned when we've had other incidents like this on the football field where, with Miles Garrett, right? Like when he said Mason Rudolph called him something, I'm like,
yeah.
when other people have heard that? Like when is that like he whispered to you? In this situation, they're 10 feet apart. If he yelled the N word, wouldn't other Steelers turn around and look at him and like get this guy out of here? You know what I mean? Again, maybe he said it, Gabe. Maybe we're totally off base here, and I'll have to issue an apology for the 7 people on YouTube that are watching right
I don't
now.
think there's going to be an apology necessary, Jeff. Neither of us are taking anyone's side here. It just seemed like
Yeah,
a weird situation.
it definitely did. So now Pittsburgh doesn't have their best wide receiver for the last 2 games. So
Yeah, and I
that
do
is
want to. That's
not
kind
great.
of. I mean, I wanted to make sure I thought I knew where you would stand on that issue. And I thought it was worth pointing out the difference between NBA situations where this comes up, where there is no barrier, and NFL where there's a very clear barrier. I mean, it's you can't get your hand. I get why NBA players feel unsafe at times. Someone's screaming horrible stuff, and they're inches away from you, and they can just come after you at any point. That feels totally different to me than the way an NFL stadium is built. Okay, so now let's talk about the
Yes.
on-field part of it. You're missing one of the most important weapons on that team right as they're trying to win that division and make a playoff run. You laid it out for us earlier. Whether that we think they're great or not, they're very much in the hunt statistically.
Well,
So how do they finish the season without that guy?
so they go to the Browns this week. I promise you that Matt and I will unfortunately be wagering on the Browns against our better judgment.
That seems
We
dumb.
had a winning week. We almost went 4-1 if Baltimore would have covered for us. That's good. Oh,
Okay.
good for us. Look at us making a charge at the end.
Why are you going to take
Um,
the Browns? What?
yeah, plus 4.5 hosting Pittsburgh. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Um, this is a terrible spot for Pittsburgh off this win. Um, so it's gonna be tough because they in Pittsburgh doesn't have a great downfield passing attack, and with DK not in the lineup, that makes it so much harder, right, to pass the ball. So it's going to definitely affect them. But they have a 2 game lead right now um, on Baltimore. Like they win one more game and that's it. So they're in a great spot.
All right, well then let's go where you just took it. Baltimore. I'm surprised I have to ask you this question. I've defended the absurdity of against this question before. But Harbaugh, hot seat. Maybe?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
I don't.
Very hot?
Um, on my Gym Shuffle podcast, Marty Herney, I do it with, very plugged in. He doesn't think that they'd fire him, but I think they're going to. I think
Mm.
it's one of those things where it's not a firing; it is one of those like mutual parting of ways.
Yeah.
I've run my course here. We both agree it's time to leave. I'm not going to be fired. Like not going to shame me to being fired, but that I'm gonna leave.
Well, then maybe he could sit a year, find himself in some sort of weird relationship, and then go coach a middling ACC football team. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I was an attempt at a joke.
Petrino.
Jeff, what I want to know is what would happen to him if he did get fired? Wouldn't he be the easiest guy in the world to hire?
Yeah, I'm thinking like the Browns would try to hire him immediately, wouldn't they?
Who
Once
wouldn't?
Stefanski
Who
gets fired.
who who with a football in front of them wouldn't hire him?
Um,
What
Maybe he could
about
go be.
Michigan? I mean, like, where couldn't he
That's
get
interesting.
hired?
Michigan's interesting on that. I didn't think about that. Michigan's interesting. Um, he'd be hired immediately everywhere. I just think it's running its course at Baltimore, which happens, right? That happens all the time.
I mean, I guess I would have thought a guy like him gets more than a season ravaged by injury, thrown away, and still about 500. But okay, yeah. I mean, a lot of people questioning his use or the team's use of Derrick Henry specifically yesterday. What is there anything to that from your perspective? I know you
They
watched the
always. I don't
line
know
and the
why they
running
do
backs.
this. Like
Why?
they tend to just not use Derrick Henry enough. It's been a years long problem. I don't know why they don't do it. I, Even last night, like you would think, okay, I understand if Lamar's healthy, okay, like look, maybe with Lamar's healthy, you can justify let's just use Lamar's arm and legs to help us win a game.
Hmm.
But when Lamar's not healthy, how do you justify this? You can't justify this at all. And you're up 24-13. Lamar's running the ball well. You're winning the game you have to win, and you lose. It's unacceptable. Like this, I just think it's sort of done with Harbaugh there. And so this is a continued problem. You remember Kansas City playoff game a few years back? They didn't use him enough. Like, dude, it's a continued problem, man. It's been a problem for years now.
Yeah. All right. I think we owe one more break, and then when we come back, we can do some quick hitters and hit the main college football stories. We've teased them at the
Yes,
top.
we got to do college football.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Be right
Quick
back.
break. Come back. College ball.
All right, we're back. I'm very excited to get to college football, but we have a couple more things to hit in the NFL. Gabe, what do we got?
We talk a lot about the Chiefs. This season is
Yeah.
over, but we're learning in future seasons the plan is to move the stadium across the river there into Kansas from Kansas City, or at least the Missouri side of Kansas City. That's an important place to you and your family. What do you think of that?
I hate it.
Why?
Well, from the base level, I hate that um, a outdoor grass stadium is going to turf and being played inside, which I despise. Um, I also have a not even a hot take, but like I think owners should pay for 100% of their stadiums. I I don't know why are the taxpayers paying? I think it's 40% of the stadium. Why are they paying for why are they paying for the stadium? You're worth billions of dollars. Stan Kroenke built his own stadium in Los Angeles. I super respect him for that. $7 billion built his own stadium. Now maybe the Hunts don't have the Walmart money. That's fair. I get it. But like David Tepper here in the Panthers wants to build a stadium, and he's worth $20 billion. Why am I getting taxed to pay for that stadium? Buy your own stadium. Um, and that's what this came down to, right? Like I think Missouri turned down a slight increase, like by eighth of a percentage point more tax over the year for people, and they turned it down, and they said, okay, we're going to Kansas. I just don't like it, man. Arrowhead's old. I get it. Like I get the concept of wanting to leave, but I just would have built an outdoor stadium, right next to Arrowhead. That would have been my choice. But I'm not in charge.
Do you think that the advantage they have, which has been noted for years at Arrowhead, especially late in the year, it's loud, it's cold. That's supposedly been a great advantage to Kansas City. Will that still be the case in this new
No,
setup?
no, it won't. Nope. They're
Okay.
trading all that for one Super Bowl and maybe a Final Four every 10 years.
Yeah,
Every
they'll
12
definitely get
years.
to host a Super Bowl. Uh,
Yeah.
the other one that surprised me that came out last week, and as far as I know, has not been confirmed yet. Maybe they're just doing the negotiation out in public. Is apparently there's a chance the Bears could leave Chicago and move into Indiana in the burbs. This seems to be a thing that keeps coming up. Famous old team that's parked in a city somewhere ends up wanting to move out to the burbs and at least threatens to do so. Do you think that could happen?
Um, that's what they're saying. They're claiming they're going to Indiana, right?
Yeah, that's what I read.
Yeah.
I'm with
Yeah.
you on this. Like, I feel like this is all just billionaires trying to figure out who will give them the most free money, and if they don't get enough from one entity, they go to the other, and that way they don't have to pay as much. I mean, as many critiques as there might be of some of these billionaire owners, but the ones who finance their own stadiums, at least that part of them is commendable.
I agree, but that seems to not be the case. I mean, can you imagine the Bears played Indiana? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah.
It, so, you know what's so interesting about this too
Mm.
is college. College really rarely build new stadiums. They just furbish the ones they have. And the NFL teams are trying to build new stadiums every year. Now, maybe that's a Super Bowl, Final Four, like those things are going to happen with the stadium. Taylor Swift will come and perform for you, which is different than a college campus. But like I mean, these college stadiums have been up for 100 years. They just keep refurbing them. There's never any calls for those to have new stadiums. I don't know why you can't just refurbish Arrowhead, but again, I'm not in charge.
Well, you just gave me a nice segue. So we saw a few classic campuses host some games this weekend. The games were a little more disappointing than some of us were hoping, and that led to a lot of takes, a lot of predictable takes. This team doesn't belong in this spot. What are
Yeah,
we even doing here? That should have been this team. It should have been that team. And to be fair to the people whining, 17, 18, 20 point favorites in a supposed playoff game, it doesn't
yeah,
feel right. You were the benefactor. The Ducks were one of the big
yeah,
winners, but Ole Miss too. Like, how do you feel about the
yeah.
games and then also all the reaction to the games?
Okay, so I've said this for a while about the playoff, right? Like the goal of the playoff is to get a champion with a 12-team playoff. It's not a participation tournament, right? So people argue that G5 inclusion, Gabe, allows a wider net to be cast and that the seasons matter more for everyone involved if you chance to make the postseason. Okay. So a couple pushbacks on that. Um, One is that people often cite other tournament sizes, right? Whether it's the FCS tournament or the March Madness tournament. But in those cases, Gabe, all the teams have a chance to win a championship are in those tournaments to begin with. So adding automatic qualifiers from 31 basketball conferences and having so and so Southwest Tennessee State as a 15 seed, you're still getting in all the teams that have a chance to win a championship. In the football, this season, Notre Dame, I believe, had the fourth best odds to win the championship at the time they were not included in the postseason. So you're not, so, you get it, right? Like Notre Dame is out of this tournament to include JMU and Tulane. Not the same thing as other tournaments when all the best teams are in and then the others get to participate, right? So one G5 team, I think, is fine. If you would have had 11 teams, including Notre Dame and Tulane, no one has an argument. BYU fans certainly do, but that's about it. But putting two of them in and you leave out Notre Dame, you're not really in the tournament to find the best team, the best champion. It's a participation tournament. The other thing that I push back on is the idea that um, inclusion of everyone like makes the sport better, I guess, or um, makes it worth teams having good records. Gabe, when I went to Oregon in 2004, I never thought about playing a championship game, not once. I thought Rose Bowl, win 10 games, like those are great seasons, man. JMU, 12-1, Sun Belt Conference champions, playing in the Pop Tart Bowl against BYU would have been a season to celebrate as an all-time season for JMU. They didn't need the playoff for validation. They had a great season. Now, of course, the 2 weeks of the playoff is great for the program, whose coach, by the way, is leaving the program to go to UCLA. Like those things are all great. Their fans being like, there are good parts to those guys being involved. But the idea that like everyone should have a chance to be in the postseason is not. No one's going to JMU thinking I'm going to make a playoff. No one's going to anything. I'm going to be in the playoff. I just think that that's never been college football, and to pretend that we need to have inclusion for everyone involved because it makes games more interesting. I don't agree with that. I don't. No one's watching the Sun Belt Championship more viewership because JMU might be a playoff team. So I also don't think that we should have no G5 teams. Right? Again, one G5 team, fine with that, as long as you get the 11 teams in that can win a championship.
All right, so let me. I don't actually believe the case I'm going to make here, but I'm hearing you, and I have to point out it does make the regular season more relevant for all those other conferences if going 12-1 and winning your conference means getting into the playoff. I hear you that it doesn't validate a good season. JMU feels just as good going to the Pop Tart Bowl, as goofy as that sounds. But it does make us as fans have to pay attention to them playing each week a little bit more than we would otherwise. We can't just write them all off and just wait until the decision comes down to Notre Dame, Texas, or BYU.
I guess, but what good did that do us on Saturday nights when Oregon was up 48-13 in the middle of the third quarter?
No, it wasn't a lot of fun to watch those games on Saturday. I agree. There's got to be a way to make the whole regular season matter. And just telling 2/3 of the teams out there, no matter what your record is, you don't matter to this championship. It just feels like it's, if the TV guys are the ones setting all this up, the TV guys are the guys ruining most of their business then.
But until 2 years ago, it it never mattered, right? Because
I
they
know, but
rarely
that's
got
what
in
this was
at
supposed to
all.
fix.
And but here's the thing though. Do you think the sport materially is different now because G5 teams are allowed to be in the postseason?
I don't really know. I think this was not a good case. This is not a good year to try to make that case. But I think there
It's
are
never
some
going to
teams
be
that could do it.
it's never going to be a good year because here's the thing. So Boise State was legitimately good last season, right?
Hmm.
Like they were good.
Yeah.
JMU was not good. They beat, according to SP Plus, they beat exactly one team in the top 50. That was Old Dominion. That was ranked 48th. They weren't. JMU was not good. Tulane was not really like other G5 teams like UCF, like the Boise of the past, like even go back to Utah in 2005. They were better, significantly better than both JMU and Tulane were. So that's also part of this as well. And then there's reasons for that. But the G5 teams this year like weren't any good, Gabe. Um, Relative to other G5 schools, and obviously it looked like they were playing a different sport than Oregon in the first half when Oregon gave a shit about that game. It looked like they were playing different sports. So look, next year maybe it gets fixed. I don't know. But that's my general take on cultural playoff.
Can I
I
throw
did
a
like I
wacky
don't
idea at you?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I saw somebody tweet this. I'm sorry, I can't remember who tweeted it. Maybe a few people picked up on this idea. But somebody said, you know what? Mr. Beast should put $50 million into one of those types of teams and just see if he can buy a championship with that tier of football by just paying for all the transfer portal
Yeah.
guys and taking it.
Okay, so I've thought about this in basically what Saudi Arabia did with Live Golf.
Yeah.
Like, what if they just wanted to buy a team, a college football team, and make it the best team possible?
Yeah.
It couldn't be a G5 team. I've said this many times to you before. I do think that 90% of the kids choose a place that's paying them, but also the best fit for them, Gabe. Like if you, I just don't think JMU
Thanks for
is a
putting me
great
on
fit
camera while I sneezed, Hank. Great
everyone.
directing.
Hank's not paying attention anymore. It's okay. We haven't talked about Texas yet, so he's
Leaves
just
me
on.
off camera the whole time, and then he's like, "Wait, it looks like he's about to have an incredibly distracting sneeze. Let's cut to the 2 box of that."
I mean, we did have this. I think when I put the lizard on my chest, the show going off the rails. So this is just it feels the way it is.
The lower
But
third says,
yeah,
I mean, what is this guy doing?
could
Sorry,
you
Jeff, continue your thought.
could you get a? Okay, look, I'll tell you what. Texas Tech is the embodiment of this right now. They have
Yep.
a former player who's worth $1 billion, who has given them money to build a better team, and they're doing it right now. I don't think you could do that at a G5 school. I think it has to be a power four school. But I'm curious if that ever will happen. Like,
Well,
will
our boy Dillingham is trying to do it in at Arizona State.
he is, which I love what he's doing. He used the leverage of the Michigan job to get himself more money. This is the sport now. You know what I hate though about some of the current climate of the sport, Gabe?
Mm.
I just saw UCLA put out this tweet. USC's done a bunch of this. They say Gabe Goodwin has
I
re-signed
know
for
it's a
2026.
weird phrasing.
Yeah, don't like it.
Don't love it either. And my team's
Yeah,
doing it, and I don't love it.
yeah, yeah. What do you think of USC ending the Notre Dame rivalry?
I'm bummed, but I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, like neither team really has a lot to gain from that any longer if championships are what matters. I think it's a silly thing to throw away. It's a valuable thing to have on the calendar every year. Fans love it. It's a great game. I think
Mm,
they're about evenly matched at this stage in the you know school's
yeah.
history. But I get why the risk is not worth it for either team. What do you think?
Um. So your boy Hank is entering stuff into the rundown, and it's a Texas guy. He claims that Texas A&M
We don't need to do
failed to
this.
report 100 million in Qatari funds
Come on.
that they got for their university. But is this used for football though?
We
Like, are they using this for football though?
we
Though, so
we don't need to do this right now.
and
We can
I'm just well,
research
no,
this.
but this is the point though, right? Like, if they are schools are maybe already doing this essentially, Gabe, where they are buying programs. Didn't
Thank you.
help them this
Thank you
past
for getting me
weekend.
back on track here.
Yeah,
But we had skipped back to USC Notre Dame. Do you think that some of these classic rivalries that are not conference rivalries, that there aren't that many of them, but the ones that exist falling away because neither team really needs to take that risk in order to pursue a
I
championship?
hate it.
Yeah, it's dumb, right?
And the thing that's interesting about USC Notre Dame one is the backlash from USC players that are pissed about this because they view it as USC dodging Notre Dame and being soft. Um, and it Notre Dame needs to gain more than USC. That's absolutely true because of their schedule. Um, but the fact is, if USC was beating Notre Dame, they wouldn't do this. The reason they're doing it is because they can't beat Notre Dame right now.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm of two minds here. First of all, they easily could have beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame this year. That's one goofy play away from a win. Second of all,
Oh, okay, Lincoln
you
Riley.
just swap, Michigan or sorry, it's not Michigan, Wisconsin in, or even Penn State this year in for Notre Dame, and it looks okay on the schedule, and that's probably a USC dub, and now they're in the conversation. So I get why this would be appealing to the team, but I'd prefer they just take the risk and play
Yes,
Notre Dame.
I agree. I would, but that's where the sport is going. Um, anything else on college football?
I guess while you get ready to find your lizard, I asked about Harbaugh at Michigan, but given all that's happened in the last 2 weeks,
Yeah,
any thoughts on the Michigan coaching situation at present?
I wonder if Kyle Whittingham is an option for them. It's a
Oh,
couple year bridge. Former
interesting.
Utah coach who
Yeah,
um, basically decided to kind of to walk away, but is not retiring supposedly. Gabe
yeah,
would be a great hire for Michigan. Just no nonsense.
yeah.
Great guy, no scandals, tough teams, physical teams, smart teams. 2 or 3 years, just a bridge. Michigan talks it right now. There was a report out today in the Athletic detailing sort of behind the scenes of some of the Sherman Moore stuff, dude. I mean, he's DMing IG models 20 minutes before games. I want two things. I want my football coach to not know Instagram exists and to have a 25 handicap.
Yep. I'm
I want
well
those two
said.
things to be true. That's what I want for my coachable coaches.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of commentary, not from either of us, about the way that certain coaches are treated based upon their race, and there's some interesting thoughts on that for other people to get into. I don't think that we've talked enough about age, and if you are a person under 40, and your like what you think is normal usage of phone and DMs and these apps on our phones. What you think is normal versus what like a 60-year-old man thinks is normal. That seems to be the difference between these people getting fired or not. Forget about all the other elements that come into this. Like just the way that people get themselves into trouble now is bizarre.
Well, but also too, I think that's bizarre because for me and you in that position, we wouldn't get in trouble that way.
What
Like,
no.
like I'm not losing my job because I'm sending emojis to women on Instagram, or I'm cheating on my wife, or publicly. Like dude. Sharon Moore was seen with this woman like at a field hockey game. Like, what are we doing? Why are you in public with her? The report stated that the report stated that said that his truck or his SUV, whatever it was, would go to her apartment complex where other Michigan players lived, and they saw his car in their apartment complex. Like, I just wouldn't. It's not what I would even think about doing, man.
Yeah. Well, I think according to one of the sources in that story, the story's not over yet, and that seems like a good prediction. It's a sad story.
Yeah,
I like your idea. Whittingham ending up there makes a good deal of sense,
it
and
does, right?
he is tough, man. That guy built some great teams that kicked the crap out of my favorite team. So I would not welcome it, but it does make sense, and I bet you Michigan's considering it. So if there's nothing left from you, I guess pick us
Yeah,
some winners. You got an odd week. You and Matt are gonna have to change the schedule to get some picks in
yeah.
early this week.
We have to figure that out. We gotta probably do that pretty soon. Did you go to USC UConn?
I did not go, and I was about to go, and I didn't at the last second, and now I'm very happy I didn't go. That was a
Yeah.
real ass kicking.
No, no. I figured you'd be front row with your tickets there.
I was not, but I will tell you this, Jeff. I was first to Juju, and I will be way ahead of most people you know on Jazzy. We have the next future star of college basketball on our team. This is not our season. Elite Eight would be the absolute best thing that could happen. I don't think that will happen, but we have the next superstar in college basketball.
And Juju's not playing this year, right? She's out.
No, she'll be gone all
Yeah.
year, but in her place, we have a freshman who is absolutely going to be the biggest star in the sport.
I love that you have tickets to USC women's basketball. It's fantastic.
Yeah, great team,
Yeah.
fun to watch, great coach.
Football. You have football tickets, basketball tickets, anything else?
No, we try to pop in on some other sports here and there. We'll get to some baseball
What
this year.
When I was in college, I made it a thing to go to at least one, a sport, a new sport, like every term, like every quarter. Like I
Mhm.
think I went to every type of game we had at Oregon. Kind of
Some
fun.
good sports up there. How did they
Yeah.
treat you as a football player? If you showed up at a women's volleyball game, do they give you a nice treatment, or do they just treat you like anybody else?
I'm an offensive lineman, bro. I don't get treated like any. So I went to basketball games. I went to basketball games for 4 years,
Hmm.
and the way I did it, I don't know if athletes got tickets. I actually don't know. Was when I was a freshman in the dorms, I met one of the basketball players, Chamberlain Oguchi. He was a freshman too, and I had a car, and we made a deal. He said, "Can I take your car out at night when you're like sleeping?" And I was like, "Sure." And exchange was that I got tickets for 4 years. So what would happen was I'd go will call, get tickets, and then I'd go sit with the students though. So I didn't have to wait in line or nothing. My buddy would save us a seat. And we would sit in the first row of the second level. So no one was in front of us.
Hmm.
And we got to like have no one in front of us. And like we could sit if we wanted to. 4 years. Went to most every Oregon home basketball game that way.
Did you overlap with Dan Dickow? Am I
No.
mixing up? Am I mixing up Gonzaga and Oregon? Was
You
Dickow
are
an Oregon
mixing
guy?
up Gonzaga. No.
Yeah, who am I thinking of? Who is that?
Luke Jackson?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Dickow
But
was
yeah, no, it
Gonzaga.
was Luke Jackson was not there when I was there. But we had I went to every basketball game. It was a ton of fun.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you a last question here, Jeff. I don't know
Mm,
why we're still talking, but would you say of your friends from college, while you were in college, not guys you've
yeah.
kept in touch with, friends in college, what percentage of them were athletes and what percentage were just like some dork down the hall like me who you happen to get along with?
So the guy I went with, to basketball games was a dork like you.
Okay.
I didn't go with a player, um, but mostly just athletes.
Yeah. Because I feel like at a big school like Oregon, with a big program like yours, you almost can't be seen hanging out with a dork like me. Like even if you wanted to, even if you got along better with dorks like me and Matt, you kind of had to hang out with the other big guys. And
But we also in the dorm, like now I made friends in the dorm, but
but
I
you
don't
lived
think
in housing with other athletes, right?
no, it was mixed.
Oh.
Um, co-ed dorm too,
Mm,
mixed co-ed dorm. Um, yeah, so I made friends like on our floor, but it's not like I hung out with them like a ton after we left the freshman dorms, right? Like I
right.
just hung out with other football players. We had some wrestling guys sort of in our group, and then Tom was who I went with to the basketball games. So yeah,
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah.
nice little walk down memory lane. We got plenty more football to watch. Basically, no day without football for a while here. This is gonna be fun. Um,
Yes,
so we'll get into all
we have a
that, and
Christmas with Jane with Mariota,
ugh,
Rosemer, and Old Dogan for the Chiefs.
yuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that one won't be the one to watch, but a lot of college ball to talk about next time I see you.
Yes, sir. We will be back next couple of days with Matt, and we'll talk some ball for this week. Take care, everyone. Have